All right. We was talking about a homeborn slave. That's right. We're going to lock into that tonight. We'll talk a bit about it first. So we're going to start off with what God has been teaching us a while, a while, a while. Every message, for the last three messages, He has mentioned in Scripture. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. God wants to do a new thing, but He don't want to do it in your old mentality. He wants to do something new. Shall ye not know it? And I will even make a way in the wilderness and the river in the desert. He's knowing that when he get ready to do this new thing for us, we do not have the complete mentality to really just do it. This is why he's going to make the way. Because now you got to be able to see and know that God is God in yourself. Now, God ain't got no problem with himself about who he is. In Isaiah again here, 48:6 reads like this. Thou hast heard, see all this, and will not I what declare it? I will show you the new thing from this time. So as God began to work with you, as a Sister Helen, ever since she heard this scripture, he is going to show her the new thing from that moment on in your life. God is going to be presented to you. Even the hidden things, even the things that you don't know that is present, God is going to show it. And thou does not know them. He's saying to you, I'm going to show you what's hidden, basically because you don't know what God is saying. You don't know it. You don't know what's here. So when you stand praying for your kids, God is going to do what he's saying, but you don't necessarily know it because it's kind of hidden. Because God is working, not in your life, he's working in somebody else's life, and you waiting to see the outcome. But God is saying, even though I'm going to show you these hidden things, I'm not going to keep anything hidden from you. Okay? Again, behold, the former things are come to pass. The new things do I will occur. In other words, God is saying that based on how you live your life in sin, that's going away. I'm finna show you something different. God is always trying to show people different. Therefore, before it spring forth, before this new thing spring forth, he's saying, I tell you of what them. So God is going to show you what he's going to do before he do it. Why? Because you need to understand that he is God and this is really real. Because God knows that you live in a superficial world that operate on a different principle that have enslaved you. He is coming to deliver you from slavery the same way he came to deliver Israel from Egypt. That's what he's trying to do. And so he keeps saying, I'm going to do this new thing. But the problem is, we want God to come into our life, okay, and make our life better. But God don't want to come into your life. He wants to come to bring you new life. He wants to do a new thing. Okay. All right, the book of Jeremiah 2:14, I'm trying to speed it up. Is Israel or are you a what? Servant? Are you really a servant of God? Or are you a home-born slave? Why are you so spoiled? He's trying to show you, based on the way you live in your life, it is causing you not to have what he wants you to have. And it has something to do with this here homeborn what slave. It has something to do with this poverty mentality that he has put on us so that we don't reach forth and go. The book of Ephesians 2:2 reads like this, wherein in time past ye walked according to the course of this what world. And see, as we begin to walk toward the course of this world, we became in tune with this world in a way that it was robbing us of what? The pleasure that God had for us. Okay? According to the prince of power of the what air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of what? Disobedience. So in other words, what he's trying to tell you, because we came through sin, it have automatically by default made us a slave to itself, to him. Right? Because we are the servant. Those who commit sin is the servant of what? Sin. So therefore you became a slave by doing the things that you need. Your mind and picked up all these negative habits. And Jesus has come so he can take those habits out of you or deliver you from that so that he can give you something what new. Okay? Follow along with me here. I'm a little bit tired, but I'm going to try to get through it here. All right, the book of Colossians 2:20 reads like this. Wherefore if ye be dead with what Christ, from the remnant of the world, why, as though living in the world, are ye subject to the what ordinance? In other words, what he's saying is, if you really is God's child, okay, Why are you living as you living in the world and letting the world dictate to you what you're supposed to be and how you're supposed to be? That's literally what he said. The ordinance of the world is the thing that they have declared. Your job, your status, your relationship, all the things that the world has for you. But if you be in Christ, you should be above the what? The world, right? But here's the problem is this world have a habit of making us a homeborn what? Slave. We're not really understanding that's what's happening to us. Okay, it took me forever to come out of that mentality that I can only have what I need to what? I can only have what the world is giving. James here 4:4. Okay. Ye adulterers and adulterers, know not ye are the what? Know not that a friendship of this what world is a enemy with what God. Wherefore, therefore, will be a what? I'm sorry. Whosoever therefore will be a what? Friend of this world is a enemy with what? God. Why is he saying that? Because we have a habit of thinking that the little blessings that we get in this world is God's doing. The devil has sought a trap. He has sought a trap to keep us in a certain position so that he can always try to maneuver and control us by not having enough. Because they create a hunger, and sometimes by not having enough, we have this zeal to prove that we are a whole lot better than what we are. And so he's telling you that a friendship with this world, that the friendship of this world is the enemy with what? God. And whoever is in this world is not really God's what? Child. What they are is a homeborn what? Slave. Now you understand what God is trying to tell you tonight. Because you got to be able to see this here. And hopefully I can get you to it. The book of Romans 12:2 reads like this. Be not confounded to this what world, but be transformed by the renewing of your what? Mind. Why do your mind have to be changed? Because your mind, where it is now, is not conditioned to do everything that God needed to do. You don't have the belief and the power to do it. So now, he said you got to be renewed. You got to renew your mind that ye may what? Prove. See, what is the what? What is the good and acceptable, perfect will of what? God. So your mind has to be conditioned enough so that you can prove. How do you prove it? By carrying it out, by producing the things that the word told you. See? And so this is why the mind have to be what? Renewed. Why? Because I was enslaved to what? Sin. So now my mind got to be what? Conditioned for what? Righteousness. John 15:18 reads like this. If ye were of the world, okay, the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, because he said, therefore the world will going to what? Hate you. So when you really start walking with God, people should start hating you. You should be walking through a season of what hate, because now they know that you are not one of us anymore. You are not a home-born slave. You are something new. So that's that new thing that God is what doing for you here. So here's how you're going to measure. The book of Corinthians here, 1:27 reads like this. But God hath chosen the foolish things of this world to confirm the what? Wise. What did he mean by that? When I say I'm going to prophesy to get a house that I can't see, the world think I'm what? Crazy. Why? Because the world is not in agreement with who? God. But I'm in agreement with God, so therefore if I'm in agreement with God, I can speak those things, though they are not as they what is, and I can have an expectation for them what happen. Okay? So he have chosen the foolish thing of this world to conform the wise, and God have chosen the weak thing of this world to conform the things that are which are what mighty here. And so what do you mean the weak thing? So what is weak? If somebody hate me and I choose to love them, the world think that is what? Weak. But God uses that to what? Confound or to change the things which are what? Mighty. So my interacting with God gives me the power to be something better and something what great. Are you understanding? So I went from being hateful, bitterness, and mean to being a child of God, and then I began to become what the world considered as being weak. But in the eyes of God, I am what? Strong. Okay? But now, I have to have that ability to carry out that strength that is in what? Me. So most people now will settle for what they have learned in the world without understanding they was poisoned from what birth. When we did the teaching on the mind, I asked people, what how old are you when you got saved? Some people said 20. Some people said 19. But how old were you when the devil introduced himself to you? You couldn't even talk. Because when you was young, you was learning things by your what? Environment. And your environment produced you to be a what? A person to work within that structure that you was what shown. God is coming here and say, I want to show you how you can take this structure, manipulate it, and become greater. Okay? That's what he's trying to do here. That's the new thing that he's trying to do, and most people won't let it go. Let's look at the book of Galatians 1-9, reads like this. Now I say that the heir, no, as long as he's a what child, different not from the servant. What are you saying? Who is the heirs? Now, we are heirs and joint heirs with who? What? Christ. And so if Christ served God in a certain way, he expects that his heirs do the what? Same. Okay? So, different not from the what servant, though he is what Lord of what all. In other words, Jesus is expecting for us to act just like what? Him. We should mimic Jesus' behavior, but is under the tutelage of the government until the appointed time of the what Father. Now, who is the governor of all this now? Of this new way of living? No, who's the governor? Jesus is. He's the governor of it. And the people's who's supposed to be up under him until the Father will come. Yeah. 3. Even so we, when we was children, were in bondage under the element of this what world. They was a homeborn what slave based on the system that the world would produce. Okay? Now he's saying, but when the fullness of time was come, God sent forth his what? Son, made of a what woman, made under the what law. Now what do he mean by this here? So we was under this world until the word come and tell us something different. Because it's the word that's got to get your mind to be changed based on what he is saying. So now, when God in Lucius' plan in the fullness of time, when he came through Mary to redeem them, that is under the what? Law. They was under the religion. See what the law would do? The law would kind of let them sin and then give a bird for their what? Sacrifice. And so the law would allow them, even if they mess up, to make a payment and it was okay. So now what God wanted to do, he came in to redeem them from up under this cursed system. Okay, and also redeem them from this, that we may be received as what? Adoption of what son? So in sin, we are not really received as a son. We are what? For the other word that value, a bastard, right? We are only a son when we receive the adoption through who? Jesus Christ. It don't go no other way. Because ye are what son, God hath sent forth his what spirit in his what the spirit of his what his son in your what heart, crying our Father. So now when I started making that transition of being saved, I found him there. Why is he there? He's there to defend what? The word. He's also there to teach me the word. He's also there to show me things to what? Come. And Jesus said, I will do a new thing. And before I do that new thing, I'm going to show it to you. Where is he? Who is going to be the one doing that? The Spirit. Ezekiel was in the valley of dead bone because he was led by the what? Helen was sitting in her bed and she saw her house because she was led by the what? So now you understand that the Spirit is there working in her. Okay? All right, let's go through. Wherefore, thou art no more a servant, but a what? Son. And if a son, then a heir of God through who? Jesus Christ. So now when I'm start talking about house come to me, I'm not talking about that old me who was messed up, who was sin, who had no power, who was right here. Now I am a what? Son of God, and I am speaking as a what? Son of God. When Jesus stepped out on that world, that was nothing. And God told Jesus what to say. And Jesus said, let there be light. And Jesus saw back and he saw the light. Jesus began to prophesy. And as he prophesied, the world came into existence. That's how that happened. We showed you that last week, how he formed it. Hereby then, when we know not God, see, and did serve unto them which by nature were not what? So what were we doing? Where we at? We was in sin. We didn't know God. So the devil introduced himself to you even before God had the opportunity. From your birth, he was operating your life. From your birth, you heard people saying and doing things to do it. For your birth, you had it, and all the while sin was planting himself in you, making you feel uncomfortable, making you feel inferior, making you feel loved sometimes, making you feel unappreciated. That was all sin working. And what he was trying to do, he was trying to spoil you. So that when you come to know God, it'll make it difficult for you to receive the promise of God. Okay? So that's what it is. By nature, we follow those things, at the world as if it was God. Oh, God bless me with that job. I told you about that 25-cent raise I got. He told me, go to that grocery store and look at all them taxes I was paying. I said, Lord, I'm making less money than I did before I got the raise. I'm thinking about giving it back. Okay? All right. The book of Galatians here now. Let's finish up. But now, after that we have known God, or rather, are known of God. Now, why did he say it like that? Because he knows that God knows us, but we fully have not engaged and appreciate God for really who he is. Okay? Well, he said, well, are known of God. How turn ye again to the weak and the bondage element? Why go back operating in this world? Why understand that just because you don't see what you need, don't mean that it's not there. So we go back to relying on jobs and things like that. Whereupon ye desire again to be in what? Bondage. I don't want this no more. I'm a new creature, so I need to be doing new things. I don't want God to come into my life. I want to receive the new life. That's the difference. That's the difference. Oh, God want to come into your life. You're going to hear this in church every Sunday. That's why they're there on Sunday, because they have not received the life. I keep telling people that. 1 John 2:15 reads like this. Love not the what? World, neither the things that are in the what? World. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in what? Him. What do you mean by that? We take so much pleasure in what this little bit of mess that we are getting. When I read what God gave Israel, I went to heaven. I said, Lord, you cheat. He said, no, you cheating yourself. But that's okay. I'm going to show you something new. And when I began to do the new things, things began to happen. And sometimes my mind can't always catch up to what God is doing. So then he got to teach me like a child. He had put me in a situation where I think that things, I was like, Lord, man, I got to come up with this $215 to pay the church insurance. And for 3 or 4 days, I refused to call him. And the Lord called him anyway. And I called him, no, Mr. Brisbane, you got $215 of credit. You just owe us $20. I said, oh, man, I can pay that today. What I'm trying to say to you is, where I was worrying about something, he had already paid it for this what moment. Because he already know that I had to be, I'm going through that transformation so that I can go back up. He already prepared for it. Okay? So what I'm saying to you is, I love being a mailman because it gives me an opportunity to walk in that faith and that favor of God, to display it before God every day. So when I'm always being kind and hey, darling, how you doing? You know, when I'm blessing the dogs, when I'm doing all this, I'm walking in his favor. I know what I'm doing. And I know he's up there smiling because I could be walking around sad, see? But I don't love the world. I hate the condition of this world. I hate what it's doing to our young black men. I hate what it's doing to the young Hispanics men. I hate what they're doing to those people who just left their war zone and sent them back. I hate everything about it. But what God wants me to do is to operate in him, even though I'm in the what? World. Okay. You getting this? Why is this important? Because it's setting you up for next week's message here. All right, 1 John 4:4. Ye are of what? God, little children, and have overcame what? Them. Because if I'm of God, then I have what? I have the what? The Spirit, right? He said when we become adaptation, we receive that adaptation, the Spirit of His Son comes to what? So now I have the Spirit, okay? He said that ye are of God now, little children, and have overcame what? Them. Who is them? The people that is in the world. The people that want to follow the world. You told them no. They hate you now. You've been ostracized. You overcame it. Why? Because greater is He that's in who? You than he that's in this world. And what God is trying to tell you, that Spirit in you is great. I told you before we came out of understanding salvation, we have to learn to develop our spirit need to understand what this Spirit is doing. Because now when I'm sitting there at home and God give me that idea, I know the Spirit need to move, and so therefore I got to act on that what's move. Why? Because it's greater than my circumstances, and He is going to tell me what I need to do. This ain't got nothing to do with naming and claiming. No, once I prophesy to the thing, God got to tell me how to get it. How He's going to do it? Through the what? Spirit. Come on, say it with me. Through the what? Spirit. So now it's going to happen through the what? Spirit. So now I got to learn how to trust the what? Spirit. Why? Because I am no longer a slave to this what? World. I am a slave to who? Christ. And no longer a what? Servant, but I am a what? Son. See? That's how that works. Because we're going to use some proper application next week on how to handle attack when they come on you. John here, 1 John here, 5-5 reads like this. Whosoever believe in who? Believe that Jesus is born of what? God. And everyone that loved him have love him also that is begotten in what? Him. In other words, whoever so ever loved Jesus loved who? The Father. Period. Okay? By this we know that we love the children of what? God. And when we love God, we keep His what? How do we know love? By keeping His what? Word. By keeping His what? Commandment. This whole thing is about keeping Him. Why? Because the devil is going to tell you that your prayer is not working. But God said that the prayer of a righteous do what? He heard you. He got you. For this is the love of what? God, that we will keep His what? Commandment. And His commandments is not what? Grievous. He's not trying to cause you harm. He's trying to keep you in line so that He can work with you. If you're doing anything, He can't work with you. It's got to come down to that point here. We got to quit lying to people that because Jesus died, we are right. For whatsoever is born of God overcomes the what? So we overcome this slave mentality. We overcome it. And ain't that what God's trying to do with us now? He's blessing us in the form of rain with these little small blessings, okay? So He can lead us to what? The latter rain. So whosoever is born of God overcomes the what? World. How do we be born of God? We take the word, we put the word in, we transform our mind, and now we become sons here. And this is the victory that overcomes the what? World. Even our what? Faith. See? And how we act with what God is saying. Who is he that overcomes the world, but he that believeth that Jesus is who? The Son of God. Okay? Pastor Lucy was talking, and Oprah was doing a special here, and she's saying that you can come to God without coming to Jesus. But the Bible said that you cannot. Okay? So what is God trying to say here tonight? This world that you live in here now was created physically by God, but to enter working of this world was designed by the what? The enemy. Jesus come here to show you something new so that you can have a better what? Reality. He understands everything that the enemy have done in this world. He understands everything that the enemy have done to you. He's here that he might help what? You. So now Jesus did not die so you can just come to heaven the way you are. Jesus died so that you can be what? Changed, and you can be what? Saved. Jesus' death did not give you clemency. It gave you an opportunity. That's what most people don't realize. Because they've been taught that, oh, he died, go on and everything is fine. So, Because you know that Jesus gave you an opportunity, now you have to either take advantage of that opportunity or stay where you are. Now, when I first started walking with him, I was as a what? Babe. Everybody understand? And so as I began to make step, Jesus began to verify in me his truth. Because he tell me to do something, I do it, and I what? I see it. Now, when Jesus was out on that world, God told him what to say. God said, let there be light, and he said, let there be light. Now, after Jesus said, let there be light, he did what? He saw the what? The light. So if I'm up here prophesying about something, let there be money, I should at some point see what? Money. Understand this. If I'm prophesying for love, I should therefore see some type of what? Love. If I'm prophesying for what? Favor, I should see some type of what? Favor. What happens if I don't see favor? So does that mean that God is not working? So what needs to happen to me? In another word I'd like to use in this church, I have to do what? Mature. I have to mature in certain things sometimes to qualify for what God is saying. And he's going to come to you and say, okay, you want love, I need for you to become love. For a whole week, you better not argue with nobody. And yeah, the devil going to send all your enemies after you to piss you off. And God knows that you're going to fail by Friday. Because you're going to be so full and fed up. But you're going to be fighting in the spirit. But by Friday, somebody been told to go to hell. We know that. And he laughed, but that's the teaching that he put you through so that he can develop what you. All the word is trying to do is develop you and challenge you. Right? Now, what did Jesus say when we came out to understand salvation? In this world, you're going to have what? Tribulation. So why do you keep asking God to get rid of tribulation? He said, be of good cheer. I have what? Overcome. What do you mean by that? He said, when the enemy come in as a flood, that's tribulation, God will make a way for you to what? So when the tribulation come, I don't want him to stop the tribulation. I need the what? The escape route. Right. Okay, what I need to do to get out of this, Lord? And when I get at it, next time the enemy bring me to it, he don't got to tell me no more because I already understand how to do what? Get out of it. Okay, we have to learn how to fight the enemy and hold on to what God is what saying. Next week, you're going to see it demonstrated in the Bible through Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and we're going to see how the enemy attacked both of them in the same way. You're going to begin to see him come at you in your own life, and then the reason I got to show it to you in your mind, so when he start attacking you, you can calm down and relax and not overreact. Why? Because it's part of the process. He's going to come. But I'm of good cheer because God is going to show me how to do what? Maneuver, escape, or get out, or to what? Overcome. All right, that's the word for the night. Let's go into live discussion here.